to another edition of the Seat Shop installation video series. In this episode, we're going to be walking you through how to replace a driver bottom and top or a passenger bottom and top. The process is the same on any 97 through 2002 Chevy Express van or the GMC Savannah work van. Now these seats are pretty easy. They're made in all vinyl. So we're going to get started. Brian's going to show you some of the tools here we're going to be using.
Pretty basic. We got a drill or an impact. We're going to have a Torx bit. This is a T30, size T30 Torx bit. We got a regular socket drive with a 10 mil on it. We also have a 10 mil wrench here, a couple of flathead screwdrivers, a pair of scissors, and a razor blade. That's pretty much it. This one's pretty straightforward. We'll move these out of the way and start showing you the disassembly. Now, to pull the seat out of the truck, you're going to need I believe an 18 millimeter socket. Typically, you're going to need a deep 18 mil. There's just 4 bolts. They're really easy to access. Undo the 4 nuts on the floor, and the seat will pull right out. Some of them have a one power connection underneath that usually is a seatbelt sensor to sense if you get the seatbelt clicked. Make sure you disconnect that before you rip the seat out. But undo the 4 nuts underneath, 18 millimeter socket. And you may check for an electrical connection underneath. Typically, it's going to be the wire feeding to the seatbelt assembly. So,
all right, let's go ahead and get this handle here. This is the recline lever. This is where we're going to need that Torx bit, the T30. So just go ahead and pull that screw out. Set it aside. Then we're going to flip it upside down and get to the 4 bolts that hold on this seat track. This is lets you slide forward and backward. There can be 4 10 millimeter nuts around the 4 corners of this frame. The front 2 or the top 2 you can get to usually with an impact or a drill. The back ones, that's where we're going to need that little 10 millimeter ratchet. You can use a 10 millimeter just regular open-ended wrench, but it's a lot faster and it's going to save you a lot of time if you have a little ratcheting one on the end.
The ratchet one saves some time if you got one of those. Otherwise, you're going to be a normal quarter turn at a time. It takes a little while to do.
All right, so we'll scoot the frame all the way back so we can get to these here with the drill. And you'll just pull these 2 front 10 mils. Then you can slide the track all the way forward, turn it on its side. It's usually easier to get to these back ones. Now these are kind of hidden in here because the frame does a U. It has kind of a U channel, but you'll see them once you flip the seat on its side.
Really helps having that ratcheting wrench. It's a real long pain to do it with that one. Doing a quarter turn of time takes you a while because you can't get access to it otherwise.
And flip it on its other side to get to the move that off to the side.
Now the cover is only held on with 4 clips. They kind of wrap around the back on all the sides here. You'll need a flathead screwdriver to get those off. The inside rim of the seat panels or the seat pan here can be pretty sharp. You can cut yourself really easy. So take you a flathead screwdriver so you can get into all these connections and pull these off. We'll start here. The back's going to have some Velcro. You'll have this flap will come up, and then there's a long strap that goes across the back here. Just going to Velcro at one end And then when you pull it across, there's also a couple Velcro tabs that wrap around the back here too. So those will, you'll be able to pull those apart. That flap done now. It's unhooked from the bottom.
And then you can start rolling the cover inside out, or not inside out, just pull it around the foam here.
You don't want to rip it totally up because if where it's anchored along the seam from the front to the back with Velcro. If you rip it straight up real hard, you may rip the Velcro off the foam. If that does happen, it's not the end of the world. You can glue it back down, but just to save yourself the trouble, you can pull it up. You just pull up slow. But typically on these vehicles, the foam cushion is usually just shot. The left-hand side where you slide in and out of it, usually down to the metal pan, kind of like this one. You can get all the way down to the metal. It makes a huge, huge difference putting a new foam cushion in there. Plus, it also saves you a whole lot of time because you're not having to take it to an upholstery shop, have them carve new foam in and rebuild the foam. You do a full swap out, put a new foam in there, a new cover, and you're good to go. So now that we get to this point, usually the foam, a lot of them won't be this bad, but you're going to see it quite often though. But if it's not that bad, it's usually still going to be really soft and pancake down. It's going to touch the frame. You put a new cover on there, it's not going to be any more comfortable. It's still going to be, and the cover's going to wear out a whole lot faster because it doesn't have any support. So changing the foam makes a huge difference. Now that these are unclipped, the foam will come up off the frame. The only thing that holds the foam onto the frame is the actual cover itself when it's clipped underneath. So this will pull straight up, and then pull straight through there. Okay. You can see the other side is molded for the inside of the frame. That's what makes it hold on to it. So now we can set this piece to the side.
And if you're getting a new foam, we're going to show you two ways. Before we do the top, if you're just now to this step and your top's fine, we're going to show you how to, without removing these top bolts right here. If you're recovering the top, then we're going to show you in a second how to take out these bolts, separate the top. Then it makes it much easier to recover the top. But if you don't need a new top cover, then this is going to be the way you're going to, once you get it down to here, this is how you get on the new foam. Because the back side of this foam here is molded, it has a little channel here, and so to push that in through this gap right here in this metal frame, to push it in through that gap is going to be hard because that foam's going to want to curl and buckle up right here.
If you try to get your hand underneath and try to push it through, it's so sharp you're going to get cut up really bad. It's really difficult.
So we're going to show you a little trick here without separating the top how to get that. You see the front side of this foam has a big channel there. That channel is going to go on that metal tube bar right there. So Brian can start, he'll get that front side set, get it kind of pushed down, and then you can make sure these flaps are out here, outside so they don't get pinched in the middle, and you can just push down this foam. Is what that does is it keeps that foam rolled out. That way when it finally gets down far enough, it'll just flap over and it'll go all the way to the back here.
Perfect.
So we can flip it up like this. You can see right here how it came through, and since it was curled and bent over, it came all the way over this frame.
That save you 10-15 minutes of trying to stuff it through. If you just try to angle it in and stuff at the back, you'll be pulling on it forever. Chances are you'll start pulling the foam apart. It'll never sit in there right. It takes forever to do it that way. If you hook the front and then flop it down to the back, it goes on in no time, and it's just really quick to do it that way.
And then you would get the new cover, you set the Velcro, and then just start rolling it over, feed the back flap through, and then you're set. We'll show you the complete recovered here in a minute. But
now we'll hop onto the top, show you how to do the top. So if you were doing the top, this is how you go about getting the top redone.
Good. All right. Then the four bolts they're four 10 millimeter bolts that are holding on the seat top. We're going to get those off right here. Get the drill.
Start to plug it.
Yeah. frame and it should. There we go.
Snap, we're good. Alright. Now there's going to be a long plastic clip at the bottom underneath here. Typically, you can get your fingers in between it and kind of roll it back, kind of like a motorcycle throttle, and back, and then it'll unsnap. So you get just a flat channel that turns around and hooks into this groove, this U-shaped channel. That's that. Rolls around and goes back in. That's how it snaps. With that undone, there's going to be Velcro that runs all the way up here and across here. So stick your hand up underneath and start undoing the Velcro. You want to make sure you're not ripping the Velcro that's hooked onto the foam. You want to make sure it stays onto the foam. So you can kind of push down on it with your thumb or whatever, and then you can push up with your other fingers all the way down to make sure it's just separating the Velcro off. It's unvelcroing. It's not ripping the Velcro off the foam.
All right, then we'll just start on both sides and just start rolling it inside out. Just work it down both sides. So just keep working it down. You'll come to this middle Velcro, same thing. You start separating that. Okay.
If the Velcro does happen to come up, not the end of the world, get you some spray adhesive or some contact cement, put that on there and set the Velcro back down. Make sure it has time to really set up and harden, because that's what holds the shape of the seam pattern on there. So if it's not dry, it's not contoured real good, it'll pull the Velcro back up. So make sure it's set real good before you put the new cover on.
Then you'll get the new cover. You want to put it back on inside out, just like we took it off. Start with it inside out. You can kind of have the headrest indented so you can get it centered here on the headrest. And then, just over here.
Turn too far out. Just the beginning part like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And just get it aligned here until you're down to the first Velcro part. Just set that. And you just start rolling it back down.
Now we get the top set up here. And you can just pull the seams and roll it down. Now, if you're doing this by yourself, sometimes it's actually easier doing it by yourself. You can have the frame on the ground where you're standing over the top of it. Then you can have both hands inside the cover, and you can roll down the side of it. So you can do that too. That's usually a pretty easy way to do. The headrest is caught in the pocket in here. In the back.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Then now that you get the cover all down, you can reach inside and kind of, then you'll set the Velcro, but you can kind of push the foam out to where the edge of the foam will align with these seams. So you can kind of push each bolster out, and then you'll set the Velcro here. There you go.
Okay.
And then the bottom clip.
Now, let's get the frame back, we'll bolt that, and we'll do the rest of the bottom. Get rid of this
Yeah, I
stuff
can
here.
get yours first. new foam and the new bottom. Again, we're going to get that front bar set in the groove. There. Before you want to put that on, you'll have to, these foam cushions are the same whether it's a driver or passenger side, and they're going to have a little indention groove here on either side. So depending on which seat you're replacing, you want to make that cut that cut in the foam here. This happens to be a driver side, so we're going to make it on the passenger side, or closest to the console. So Brian, we'll lean this over. Oh, and this one happens to be already cut. Actually,
trimmed,
yeah. But there would be an extra flap here. So if you're making a driver, then trim it to where that handle is closest to the console.
So whatever side the little stump sticking out that your recline lever is, that's where you'll trim the little flap off. And it's got the indentation line. It shows you where to trace on. You take a pair of scissors or a razor blade, any knife or anything will cut it pretty easy. So here we're just line up the seams. We'll line up the Velcro. For front to back, you'll look at. I kind of look at the line across here, the very front of it, where it starts to turn and go down. That's where you want your seam here to lay, pretty much. So I'll kind of get it to where the seam. We'll just roll over, lay there. So now we can go ahead and set your Velcro.
Okay. Roll the front flaps over. Kind of roll.
Put my hand on the inside, kind of wrap. I'll be able to feel the seam, like this seam line here with my fingers. Pull that and then just roll my hand over. It really rolls over, kind of keeps the front tight.
There we go, goes outside. Tuck this back flap just through.
Okay. This part flap here, I'll tuck in and it'll kind of roll down underneath.
Alright.
Okay.
You want to get it on that side?
Get the back here.
Yeah.
Just do it like that.
Then just start reclipping all these plastic J clips. We'll get this flat first. This cover side. Back to the frame on the underneath side. Again, we'll start with the two front ones we can get with the drill set. That way we can line it all up. So I'll slide that frame back. Get these two.
We carry all the factory colors, so if you got something other than this color here, the graphite, if you have the tan or if you have the cloth, we typically have all the cloth as well. So whatever color interior you got, we can get you covered. Just give us a call with a VIN number. We can run all your VINs to verify the color, so we make sure we get you the right color to match up with your interior. We do have all the foam cushions. We've got them for the this one that was from 97 to 02. Then we also have the 03 all the way through 14 model. We cover all the Ford vans as well, the Econoline, those patterns with the covers as well as the foam. So anything you've got that's a work van, pretty much we should have the full replacement foam and cover
these back ones started. These back ones are a little tricky to get started just because there's not a lot of room to work there. Start there.
I can't get to it from the
Yeah, I'll
side.
have to lean it on its side actually.
Okay.
Well, I'm working on this back one. You want to show them that cut there?
Yeah. Side. All right. So here's where your lever comes through for your recline. You get one of two options. You can either use a razor blade or some scissors. On such a small hole, I usually like to use a razor blade. You can obviously see where it's poking through. Just make a little slit one direction, and then I kind of want to do it like an X. I'll cut through like that too, and then this will start to push through. Just kind of trim away whatever's still hanging on. Boom. That's it. So it comes through. That way you don't have to cut a big hole because there's not much that covers over it. You just have this base right here. So using the razor blade, I think, is a little bit better for that cut. That'll thread right there. We get a screw. This is the Torx bit. It goes back on there.
Let me run this. You want to turn your, if you're using a drill or an impact, turn it down to the lowest setting. That way you aren't going to break this. But I'll hold this flat.
There we go.
All right. That's pretty much it. If you got any questions, definitely give us a shout. Like Brian said, we got all the work band, all the colors, most of the cloths for 97 all the way through 2014. We got all the patterns and everything. It'll factory match. We got all the replacement foam cushions because most of them are beat up, most of them are worn out. But if you got any questions, give us a call, 214-710-2565, or check us out on the website at theseatshop.com.